Greetings, welcome, and good day. You are now tuned into the 6th episode of the Seasoned Vet Podcast. I'm so happy you can make it to another chapter of the show. This week we're joined by a former Navy Corpsman who was determined to leave the service with more than what she came with. Terry is a woman it's hard to get anything past. She pays attention to everything now and did when she was in the Navy. Luckily for those young sailors coming behind her, she also speaks up about it. This episode was a delight just because of how insightful Terry is. She's not the strong and silent type. She's the strong and vocal type, and that is the type that creates the path for change. Terry began her career as a single mother and ended it as a corpsman turned nurse, so it's safe to say she's always helping people, either with social change or with medical assistance. Since leaving the military, Terry has managed to keep working for the U.S. government in the same field of public health. But now she's doing it on a higher level with more degrees, more certifications, more qualifications, and of course, more experience. That's why I've titled this episode, Same Job, From the Navy to the Mob. Brand! How's it going?
Great.
That's what's up. Hey, thank you for letting me come in your home. Thank you for inviting me here.
Absolutely.
For sure. You look great. How was work?
It was okay. Work of the day. No, nothing exciting. So.
Work was working.
Work was working. Get a paycheck.
Look, that's what it's there for. All right, I think you told me earlier to refer to you as Terry.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Terry, what is your connection to the service?
I was in active duty in the Navy.
Come on.
And then did several years in the Navy. Used my GI Bill and all the other stuff.
Get it.
Got my degree.
That's what it's there for.
I ended up getting out. So I still am affiliated with the government. My dad was in the military. Some of my uncles.
Nice.
Yeah, so we a military family. I was actually born at Portsmouth Naval Hospital.
It's in your blood.
It's in my blood, my DNA.
So your dad was in the military. Was he also a Navy person? Mm-hmm. Wow, y'all really love water in this family.
Love water.
Well, and it makes sense because you look hydrated. Like, that skin is glowing, girl. So was the Navy your first choice?
It was my first choice because I grew up in this Hampton Roads area and it's Navy heavy. I mean, we do have like a little bit of Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, but it's the largest naval base in the world. So
is it really? I believe you.
It really is.
I didn't know that. All right.
It's the largest naval base in the world.
I'm getting educated, Terry. Thank you.
So growing up, I didn't do like ROTC or any of that stuff, but like I said, being that I had a lot of family that was in the military and grew up in a Navy town, the Navy was my first choice. One of the main reasons for choosing the military at the time, I had a child very young and I wanted to go to college, but I didn't have any money. So
it does cost money, doesn't it?
If you go to the military, they'll pay for you to go to school.
Amen.
So
that's the best thing that they do.
Right.
So you went to the military and now you use your GI Bill, huh?
I used my GI. Well, while you're in, you can do the, what is it called, the
tuition assistance.
Yeah, so I did a lot of my prerequisites.
Absolutely.
And stuff.
Come on.
And then once I got out, I finished using my GI Bill. I can use the post 9/11, so I can get my master's and stuff too. So it was very helpful.
Love it.
If the military didn't do anything else for me, they helped pay for my education.
That's what I'm talking about.
So.
Look, it's good for something.
Yeah, look, if they're going to use me, you got to use it.
Amen.
To your advantage.
So how do you feel about your time in uniform? Does any particular time period stand out to you?
It was very interesting those several years.
I'm sorry. How long were you in?
I was in for about 10 years.
Okay, get it.
So when I went in, originally I went in what they call undesignated, which means I didn't choose a rate.
Okay.
And the only reason at the time is because after you take the ASVAB and all that, I qualified for like a lot of stuff, nuke stuff.
Right on.
But they were trying to say I had to like dedicate, give them like 5, 6, 7 years. I was like, I'm not doing that.
For nukes?
Yeah, for like a lot of stuff.
Oh, for everything.
Like, for different stuff that I qualified for. I was like, I'm not giving. I said, I don't know if I'm going to like it. So I said, well, what can I choose that I can take the least amount of years? And they were like, dummy me not knowing exactly what this meant. Oh, you can go undesignated. You only have to do 3 years minimum. So dummy me. Not realizing I was going to be like, the ship's janitor or whatever.
Oh, man.
Basically. But so I chose to go in undesignated for the first 3 years. And then I've always wanted to be like in the medical field. So once I like went to my first duty station, which was a ship, I kind of sat down with my uncle. He used to be private military. We wrote down some goals and so
Nice.
kind of mapped out what I thought I wanted to do going forward. I didn't think at the time, I don't think I ever thought I was going to do a full 20 years in the military. Like, it truly was a stepping stone. I wanted to go to school so I could get my degree and do what I wanted to do. But
Right on. And did.
And very happy.
So you spent 3 years as a...
Undesignated.
And do y'all call it non-rate? I'm from the Coast Guard. We call, I think you're undesignated people. We call those non-rates.
They call them undesignated seamen.
All right. So it's like an E3?
E1,
but
E2, E3.
I think, yeah.
By the time you get to like third, second, you have to have a rate.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to say this. Mm-hmm. Even if you choose to, like, because usually with undesignated, it's usually like a seaman rate, like it's, so like bosun mate, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
you
we got those.
Closely with them. So sometimes people will go in as an undesignated seaman, they end up taking the bosun route because they know it and it's just easier.
Yeah, since they've been doing it. All right. And
instead of striking out trying to do something else.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
But I want me in up there in bosun.
I'm just curious at this point. So as an undesignated person, you can be designated as like a mess cook too, couldn't you?
A lot of times with the undesignated, they made us do work like 6 months or 3 to 6 months in like the mess hall.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I did not want to work down there. I heard
nobody wants to do a mess cook.
But that's all right. But you know what? I did get a chance to go do my mess time in the wardroom. Now I love that with all the officers and everything.
Okay.
So I mean, it still was kind of hard or whatever, but it was much better than working in the regular mess.
Yeah.
It was a lot of perks and stuff too. So I liked working in the wardroom.
Right.
In their mess.
Their mess.
They call it mess hall.
No, I know. It's just that it still sounds bad. I know what it is. It never sounds good when you hear it.
MS is mess specialist.
Lord have mercy.
What did y'all call it in the Coast Guard?
We call them mess cooks. Yeah, we call them mess cooks.
They changed it now. They're called they didn't change it for you guys.
If you're like E3 or below and you're working in the kitchen, you're probably a mess cook. If you have been to what we call A school, you're probably a petty officer, and we call those culinary specialists.
So
or food specialists, something like that.
It's culinary specialists. So same thing with it's no MS in the Navy. It's culinary specialists now. And just like they used to have SHs, ships helpers, and so like they changed all the names. Yeah. Somebody high up was bored and was like, "We're gonna change all the names."
Right. It didn't even make it more politically correct.
It did not.
It just made it different. That's it.
That's it. It did not.
It doesn't sound better or more correct. It just sounds different. They needed something to do, and they did it.
And they did it.
How do you think your experience could have been improved while you were in the Navy?
I just think having a little more, even though I did have family members that had been in the military, they still didn't impart that knowledge. Like, if I would have known certain things, like I said, if I would have known what really an undesignated seaman was, I'm going to say this. I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it because I really didn't know that's what I was going to do until it was presented to me. So at that time when you're up, choosing what you're going to do, they don't give you opportunity to call and say, hey, what is this? Or, should I do this? So I kind of like on the fly at that moment had to decide what I was going to do. And I was like, well, I just want to do 3 years. I don't want to do 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So give me the undesignated. So I think having a little more prior knowledge of how stuff kind of works.
If you truly knew your options.
I think it would have served me better, but it would serve the military better too. Because you don't want to put somebody somewhere something that they hate every day. Right. Because you know what I'm saying, you're not going to get the most value. And that's going to kill your retention. Very much so.
They're not going to want to keep signing up if they think it's just going to be bullshit the whole time.
Right. So I'm basically the ship's janitor and somebody yelling at me all the time. I can do that on my side. Right. So, and then I think too, the military, especially for minorities, especially African Americans, if they had better mentors, they try. Like I know over the years, I've seen programs and stuff on ships and, cultural diversity, they try. Sometimes I think they just do it just to check a box, but if they truly had people that were, a little higher ranking enlisted or officers, they could kind of like, bring the young along.
So this feeds into another question. What do you wish you had known before joining the service?
I think it's very political. Okay. And I've learned even active duty and just being affiliated with the military, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Wow.
So I've seen a lot of times where certain people in the military get certain things, not because of what they know or how good they work or
Right.
how hard they work. It's just because of who they may be friends with or who
Right.
it's kind of cliquish
Yeah.
in the military a little bit. It's still,
Yes.
for lack of a better phrase, the good old boy network. So.
That's the correct phrase.
So it still kind of operates that way.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's hard for minorities, period, black people, period, but
Yes.
it's harder for black women. Black men got it hard, but black women got it even harder. And because even like when you do start to make rank in the military, from me being in the military and then knowing other people that I was, and they like became officers and started making rank, like they just, black women just have it so hard. I bless their hearts.
You're right. You
Bless
are
their
correct.
hearts. If you too, I guess, overly assertive, you could be considered the B word, or if you too scary and docile, then they, you know.
Are you
even
purposely not saying bitch? Because like you can curse here. Like it's fine.
I'm trying that.
Are you trying to be a lady? My bad. Hey, you
I'm trying. So I'm
be all the lady you want to be.
It's working on me.
If you had known that you were going to be in as long as you were in, what rate would you have gone first?
I was in medical.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Had I known, and I probably would have, progressed and made rank a lot faster.
You probably would have stayed in longer too.
And I probably would have stayed in because of some of my friends that like were on my first command or first or second command. A lot of them they did end up saying, like a couple of them became nurses, went through the officer program. A couple of them senior chief master. They made rank and stuff. So yeah, but they kind of when they came in, they already chose their rate. So
okay, they had their minds made up.
Yep.
Got you. Tell me about a time when you experienced something, either good or bad, and you know that experience happened because you are a black woman. Either good or bad.
Well, I'm gonna say, like, it was just little things that I noticed, especially when being undesignated, being on a ship. There were instances where, because it was more Caucasian people.
There's more white people. Gotcha.
Right. But anyways, there were instances like, say, something as simple as...
Terry, you are really correct, Terry. Like, you are...
I'm gonna be PC.
Run for office.
No. Because they'll make you come out of character and not be PC. But they, like, something as simple as, like, I remember I wanted to put in for leave for like my birthday. I wanted special liberty or something. And mine got denied. And the reason that was given was because you can't have special liberty for your birthday. I'm like, well, this Caucasian boy, white boy, just did it last week and for the exact same reason, and we the same. I'm not understanding why I can't.
Right.
What's going on? So because of my personality, I went to go see the division officer or whatever, and I'm like, can you explain to me, sir, why mine got denied and his did not?
Right.
When it's the same thing.
Right.
Same amount of time, we the same. Like, everything is the same except for he's a white man and I'm a black woman.
Right.
And so I think the guy, which happened to be an African-American officer, male, he
Okay.
got very frustrated with me, and so he just said, you know what, here you go. He just signed it and threw it across the table and said, get out of his office.
Wow.
So...
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I told her.
Look, you're a person. You got stuff to do. Thank you for taking the time, Terry. And I'm sorry that brother was an asshole.
But I don't even think it was him specifically. I just think it was just the structure. It was just the it's just how the military is. I really do think that's just how it was.
Don't blame his shitty attitude on
Well, that too.
on the military.
But I just think when I say that, I mean, it's systematic racism just does not stay in the civilian sector. It's
You're right.
Military too.
But you are absolutely
the same people
right.
that's in the civilian sector go into the military. So you
word.
still experience that same type of racism. I think it's worse in the military because if you are of a lower rank or whatever, you feel like, and a lot of times you don't have any recourse.
Right.
Or if you do try to, do something or expose something, then, it's retaliation towards you and affects your career and stuff. So I think, racism in the military is a little harder, or even sexism, being a woman.
Right.
Certain things happen to us that,
Hell, it's almost normalized.
Right. I've experienced that too as a woman. So in the military, very much so.
It's overlooked. It's brushed under the table.
And if you say something, not that what happened to you is wrong or the person that did you wrong, you're wrong for even saying anything.
Right.
You're a dirtbag. You shouldn't have said anything. You should go along to get along just like everybody else.
Now you get to be a victim twice.
Right.
Shit.
It's all right.
When you brought complaints to your chain of command, do you feel that you were heard?
Sometimes, like, I remember a time where, like I said, going back to, I still remember this one particular white girl because she blonde hair, blue eyes, like she used to hurt my nerves so bad because She'd get up 3 o'clock in the morning, do her little hair and makeup, which was fine here, but then I just didn't like that she got treated a certain way versus the rest of us.
Right.
But whatever. I still remember her name too. But
now I will edit that part out though. These curse words I'm gonna keep in, but
okay. I'm not gonna say her name. But
her name is a real profanity.
But I do remember getting an eval one time as a person from even when I was a young military person to even now. I know what type of work I am. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I can tell you before you can tell me. But anyway, so at that time, I remember I didn't get a good score that time.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I believe is because when I brought up the thing that like why she get just in office, I don't. You know what I'm saying? I made a big deal about it, so because it's not gonna work. We can go to the CO.
Wait, what was the situation that you were talking about?
So when she first checked in on board, the department we did a lot of stuff outside, basically chipping and painting. So like I said, ship's janitor. Because she's blonde hair, blue eyed, Caucasian girl, she just can be in the AC and just be in the shop just doing admin. And at the time, me and her were the only 2 females in that division. The rest of them were males.
Okay.
So what we not gonna do?
Come on.
I said, and so I made a complaint. I said, well, I want to take this. I said, if I have no problems working outside, I can be out here with the guys all day, every day. But you're not gonna do that. She's gonna be out here too, or we both gonna be in office, or we can take turns. However you want to do it, but I think it needs to be fair and equitable because she's a white lady. Don't mean she, any more special than I am. Like,
right?
No. So, and I think that was one of the reasons that I got a lower mark that time on my evals because of my mouth. But what I did do
because I called out inequality,
right? And which was hard because, like I said, we were only 2 females in that division, but still. Yeah. And of course, she didn't care. She was like, as long as I'm in the AC chilling, I don't care nothing about you. But so I kind of challenged it. My uncle that had been in the military, I was like, so what should I do? Because I think they unfairly, scored me or whatever. So I ended up write like a whole 2-3 page rebuttal. I was like, I want to be routed to the CO, let him sign off. Now they didn't change it, but I still was able to put basically, my 2 cents in.
Good.
On to why I felt the score that I got was not fair or incorrect. But
I'm sorry your marks didn't get changed, but I'm very proud of you.
But I still spoke up for myself.
Thank you. Good. Look, if nothing else, they got an earful.
Okay. Well, at least a reading full. They got the eye full. I gave you a couple of pages if they read it.
Let me challenge your literacy here for a second.
There you go.
Good. In the beginning of your career, when you needed guidance and mentorship, were those resources provided, or did you have to seek them out?
You had to seek them out.
Okay.
They were not readily available. I do remember, and this was maybe once I picked a rate, which was medical, I did end up meeting a guy really smart. He was like maybe 1 rank higher than me. Really, really smart, really savvy, really good rate that he was in, good at what he did. And he kind of took me in when he tried to mentor me a little bit, which was helpful. Matter of fact, it's so funny. Years later, he's a PA, and I saw him at one of the clinics. Like 20 years later.
Nice.
But but the opportunities, especially when you're on a ship, it's just you're there to work and get ready to go out to sea, do what you do, and come back. It's not a whole lot of.
It's not a lot of opportunity. Gotcha. Were you able to make friends with other Black lady veterans? Were you purposeful about building your village?
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. On my first command, matter of fact, the first command that I was at on the ship, she's still my friend today, one of my best friends. She's actually godparents of one of my kids.
Oh, I love it.
20 years later, we're still friends.
I love it.
And then I remember my next duty station, I met another, she just was calling me. Another friend.
Oh man, I broke up a Black lady moment. My bad, y'all. That's not what this show is about.
That's the one thing. Now I'm gonna say this. That's the one thing that I did appreciate about the military. I have like quite a few friends that I still maintain friendship. Like been friends for 20 years.
Love it.
Like we still see each other. We still do like it's still like a real friendship.
It's a sisterhood.
And even like when I think at my second command, because it was at a hospital. And in the department or the clinic or where we worked at, it was quite a few of us African American girls, and we kind of like stuck together. We did a lot of stuff professionally, but we did a lot. We hung out outside of work too.
Good.
And even to this day, like I followed up to see what happened,
Yeah.
because I always say birds of a flock together. So it's just nice to see that we started out here, but everybody that I was with progressed. Either they, was an officer or retired senior chief, or they got their masters. Like everybody's doing well in our group that we had. So it was awesome. Now that part was awesome.
Okay, a group of badasses.
A group of badasses.
I love it.
Iron sharpens iron. So
love it. Terry, can you tell me a war story? A story where you were tested, but you came out on top.
Well, to me, this was a test. So I was up to take, let's say, the E5 exam. Mm-hmm. And it was right when I was up to choose for orders. Okay. Now, during like that 6 months prior to I had met, when I don't know how the other branches, but like in the military, if you once you pick your rate, you can get like do y'all have C schools in the Coast Guard?
We do.
So anyways, in order to do C school, I had to do OJT and all, all this extra stuff, which I had, started doing, like shadowing different people that specialists that I wanted to do. But at the same time, at the particular time, one of the bases in North Carolina or something, it had a bunch of female corpsmen get pregnant all at one time. Wow. So it became a hot field builder. So they were trying to pull all the quad zero medical people, females, they could, to go down there to cover, that. And
they were trying to get more women to cover the... Yeah. Why? They was all getting pregnant. I'm kidding.
Well, they had to replace them with ones that currently weren't. With the Marines, so... But it was so funny because I was very upset. I was like, I've been working hard trying to, I'll go to, and then I finally said, look, I told the senior chief master, whoever at that time, said, look, I don't even care about C school anymore. I said, you can send me to any ship on the east or the west coast. I said, I don't want to go with the Marines. I don't. So still talking, whatever. I even had, matter of fact, I said the guy that ended up mentoring me because he made rank really fast.
Mm-hmm. Was that a brother?
No, he was Caucasian.
Okay.
But sweetest guy.
Look.
He made rank really fast. So
allies are everywhere.
He was an advocate for me. And it was somebody else. I remember they were talking to the detailer master. She was like, look, that's not what she wants to do. She's a good sailor. This is what she wants to do. And I remember the detailer saying, you got two choices. You either go to here or get out. And I was like, devastated. Like, are you serious? I remember crying. And I think I had to take the exam the next day. I'm crying during the exam. And I remember going back to my department, and at the time I think she was an 04, 05, and she was like, look, you are a good sailor, you are a good worker, blah blah whatever. She said, whatever you want, I'm willing to do. She said, if you want me to fight for you to go to this C school, I will fight for you. If you want to get out, I'll support you. She said, Terry, you tell me what you want to do, and I'm doing whatever you want to do. And I think because I remember the guy said too, well, if you get out of the military now, you're not going to be able to find a job, like basically. So wow. He left a nasty taste in my mouth. Like, so you're not gonna tell me? I didn't join the military. I was like 20-something years old. I said, so you trying to tell me if I don't stay in the military and go where you want me to go, when you want me to go, I'm just gonna like end up being homeless and a bum? So it kind of left a nasty taste in my mouth, and it made me. I decided to get out. So
okay.
But it lit a fire under me. I'm like, I'm gonna get my degrees. I can show you, but I can tell you, the military is not the end all to be all for me.
Amen. And it shouldn't be for anybody.
But I just feel as a master chief or whoever, you shouldn't. That's not, especially somebody. And I was telling the 04, 05 at the time. I was telling her, I said, it's funny to me that you have, and I've seen this a lot in Navy. I don't know about other branches, where you have people that work really hard, do everything they're supposed to do, and then they just, get shitted on. Yep. And then the dirt bags, the ass kissers, come on, is the ones that get promoted. Like,
they get the promotions,
because I've seen that, right? And I've seen that a couple of times.
The good billets.
There you go. And I'm like, now I done worked my hind quarters off, and y'all still gonna give me your ass to kiss. So I was like, I'll get out.
Mm-hmm. All right, that does sound like a win. Look,
for me it was. I mean, at the time, I think that was the best decision and when hindsight's 2020, of course, but now I'm like, I'm glad I did what I did. I appreciate the time that I had in the military active duty. I learned a lot. I saw a lot. Like, you get the little free working trips, right? Stuff. So I got to see some places that I may not have ever seen if I weren't in the military. Right. But but I think it was the best decision that I made for me at the time. And I do remember my uncle that was prior Navy, because I went to him saying, like, what should I do? They want me, should I stay and get out? Because I think at that time I was 6-7 year mark. Okay. And he was like, look, He said, I never tell anybody to get out. I never tell anybody to stay in. He said, but what I do tell people is, if you do get out, what is your plan? Like, not what you gonna do. What are you, like, you got a resume? Are you going to school? Like, have you already applied to schools? Like, you have to already have something in motion before you just get out. I mean, don't just get out of the military and then that's it. Like, you have to already actively. And fortunate for me, I had I'm gonna go get on resume. I'm applying to schools. Like, I was already taking classes and stuff anyways. And I think right before I had got accepted to a program.
Nice.
So I was. He said, so I'm not telling you get out or stay in. He said, but if you do get out, make sure you have things
lined up
to go.
Right on.
So I think it was the best decision for me at that time.
That's pretty solid advice. Do you feel that the way you were treated was improved with rank? You started off at the bottom and then you worked your way up to E5. Did the treatment improve?
Maybe minutely, just because you start to, kind of meet and network with other people that are a little higher ranking. So it changes a little bit, but not a lot. Like I said, as far as rank, maybe yeah, but like I said, as far as the diversity aspect of it,
right? Like,
you could still see how you may be treated differently than somebody else that was of a different race than you. So.
That's actually part B to this question. Do you feel that the improved treatment would have happened sooner or more significantly had you been a different race or gender?
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna say, I tell people, and I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to be negative. Being a black person, I didn't say a person of color. I didn't say Asian. I did not say Spanish. But being a black person in America,
come on,
we all got our own battle stories to tell. Like it's and I know some people, especially people that are non-African American or black or whatever you want to call it, they're like, oh, you guys have more rights. Yeah, we have more rights than what we had, but it's still a struggle. And I said, even if it's just
we died for those fucking rights.
Okay. But I'm just saying, what do they call it? It's the microaggressions and stuff.
Yes.
That you experience.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna say this. When I went in, I think in the late '90s, early 2000s, it was a little blatant, but like I said, I think over time it still got worse. Like you would think it would have gotten better, especially we had an African American president. He didn't make it better. I think he made it worse.
You mean Barack Obama didn't solve racism? Darn.
No, I think he like shook up the beehive, and they was like, oh hell no. So, but
thought he got rid of all that. I'm kidding.
So and I said, even still being affiliated with the military and just seeing certain things, I think to me it just seems like it's gotten worse. And like I said, it's different. It's not as blatant. It's like I said, the microaggressions, the little things that you see, but it's still the same thing. You know it when you see it.
Right.
You know it when you experience it.
Right. No mistaken. Has there ever been a tough situation that you were in where another sister helped you out, or a situation where you helped another sister out?
Like I said, I did have a first class. She was a female, and maybe I was a third class or something. I don't know. But I do remember her talking to me a lot because she's like, "You're a hard worker. You smart. You whatever." Now, but I'm like, I'm like a little rattlesnake. Now you can't. You can't just come for me. And don't think I'm going to. So she did try to take me under her wing a little bit and try to guide me a little bit in certain situations, which I did appreciate. I even remember one time, which at the time it was negative, but when I look back, it was kind of positive. It was I think I was when I was working in the wardroom on the in the mess that ward, whatever they called it, and it was a first class. She was a different rate though, female, and I just remember, and I'm saying this because it's kind of like I remember I was working, and she had a habit of touching me, to get my attention.
Was this wasn't a sister?
It was a sister.
Really?
Had a habit of just I can't hear. I'm like, are you serious right now? So
we normally respect personal space.
I remember telling her, I said, such and such, head off such and such. I said, I have no problem doing anything you want me to do, and I can hear. I said, please do not touch me. You're trying to get my attention. She did it one more time. I was going,
oh my god.
She looked.
She ain't doing no more. I know.
But no, so then she tried to write me up, and I'll never forget. She said, she sat me down. She said, well, I want you to sign this because she said, now I'm not. She said, anything I ask you to do, you do. She said, "You're not disrespectful. You don't talk back. You do what I say." She said, "But it's your facial expression." I said, "My facial expression."
You got written up for having a face? All right.
I said, "So you write me up because you don't like my facial expressions?" I said, "Well, I disagree." I said, "So that being said," I said, I don't think I want to sign this." I said, "Let's take this shit all the way up to the CO and tell him to tell me to sign it." I said, "If he tell me to sign it, I'll sign it." And she just got mad, took the paper and walked away.
Okay.
But I said that helped me the fact that like you have to like stand up, because in the military you're not supposed to question anything. You're not supposed to just whatever they say you do. And that was never me.
Good.
So
Good.
like, you don't like my. So I do everything you tell me to do. I'm respectful. I don't talk back to you, but you just don't like my facial expressions. I won't say I don't like yours either, but I say I was like, I don't know how you can write somebody up because you don't like some of their facial expressions.
That is wild.
So, but it did, like I said, my time in the military, if it didn't teach me anything, is kind of stand up for yourself. And if it doesn't make, like, I don't just follow orders blind. Like, if it doesn't make sense, if it sounds illegal or moral, like, I'm going to unfortunately question. Maybe that's why I only did the many years. That's why I didn't go all the way to the end, because I can't see myself. And I'm a big proponent of I don't want, like, I believe in speaking up too, because if it's happening to me, it could be happening to somebody else.
Right.
And I don't want it to happen. It happens to me. I don't say anything, let it go, and then it continues to happen. I'm hoping that if I stand up or if I speak up, that maybe it'll break that cycle. Maybe that it won't happen to somebody else. Hopefully, maybe.
Good looking out, Terry. Good looking out. Thank you. Always feel empowered to speak up for yourself. Good for you. Break. And now, a word from today's sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Full Potential Education Advocacy and Consulting. Full Potential Education Advocacy and Consulting supports families in obtaining free, appropriate public education for students with special learning needs. When working with Full Potential Education Advocacy and Consulting, parents and guardians can rest assured they are receiving expert guidance and support in navigating the intricate world of special education. Full Potential Education Advocacy and Consulting aims to ensure that every child receives an education they deserve, and families can feel confident knowing they have the support they need throughout the process. If you are anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, you can book a free 30-minute consultation online at www.fullpotentialforlife.org. That's full, F-U-L-L, potential, P-O-T-E-N-T-I-A-L, the number 4, life, L-I-F-E.org. You can also call Education Advocate Tanya D. Slade at 757-776-8856. At Full Potential Education Advocacy and Consulting, you can expect consulting with compassion. Break. And now, back to the show. All right. Tell me about a time you learned a lesson that you may not have been ready to learn.
Well, I learned the military don't care nothing about you. You are a number.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make friends and meet people and everything, but you are when trying to do, maneuver and try to do some things that I thought I would like to do in the military, and then basically saying you either go down here where we told you to go or get out. Like, it just made me feel like, they don't care.
Right.
I'm just a number. I'm just a body.
Right.
To them. So,
right.
Which that was a hard lesson for me to learn, because I was like, I'm a human, and I did. A part of me really did love the Navy. I really did. Like, I really wanted to give my all to the military, but when that happened to me, I was like, I'm done.
Right.
You don't deserve me.
You don't deserve my brilliance
at all.
Good. And you had a lot of qualifications and certifications by the time you got out. Anyways, like you were. Self-improvement was the name of the game.
I think the military, and I don't know about, but they shoot their own selves in the foot. Like I said, the ones that do work hard or are trying, instead of cultivating that, they kind of like step on you and suppress it and just treat you in kind of way. And it, because I know many, even officers, like junior officers, they come in, and officers of color or whatever, and they get treated bad. And they don't stay in long. Right. So the retention rate is bad because the culture makes it bad.
Yes.
You got a lot of bright, young, brilliant people that really do want to come into the military to serve and to give back and do all that stuff. But then when you're, treated any kind of way, it doesn't make you want to stay.
Right. Who would stay in a bad situation?
Absolutely.
Not voluntarily.
Not voluntarily. Like, yeah.
No, I got the option.
Especially when, like I said, I work in the medical side, so you got nurses, doctors, therapists. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to stay in the military. They don't have to stay.
You can always work in
a
public
lot
health.
of that I've talked to, they come in one, like a lot of doctors, so because pay some of their student loans and stuff off. But the reason I've talked to them, they really want to give back to, you know, the country and try to help. But then when they get treated like pieces of shit,
right?
It's like, you know what? If I'm gonna get treated like shit, like I'm gonna make more money and I'm gonna do it on the outside.
Right on.
Where somebody's not telling me where to go, when to go, how long to stay and do. You know what I'm saying? I can kind of make my own schedule and rules and probably make more money.
Amen. Amen. By the time you got out, you were an E5, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a leadership position. Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you feel that you were a better leader than the ones you grew under?
Absolutely. But I mean, well, I'm gonna say this. I had in any profession or any job, I had some good leaders that I really admire, and I had some not so good leaders. So like I learned from both. I learned from the leaders that were really good, and I learned from the leaders that weren't so good on not what to do or not how to treat my people better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, like I said, in the military, they look at you as just like you're just a number in the body. But these are humans. They have families, they have spouses, kids, mother, father, like things. They're human.
Yes.
And so, yes, I understand. We have a job to do all day, every day, but there are nuances to it. If the sailor comes in and this person is normally bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, working hard, and they come in really upset, or as a leader, you want to be an intrusive leader. You want, hey, you know, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Maybe something truly going on with this person that we need to find out about so we can at least try to assist them however way we can. But I've met some leaders that they don't give. I told you to go do evening. Say, I don't care how you feel, what you think. I don't care.
Wow.
I don't care if your husband just left you.
And there goes your retention rate.
Not even just retention rate, but they, hurt themselves, hurt other people, hurt people. So I've seen some situations kind of go bad because leadership did not, really engage that person. Mm-hmm. And had they tried to engage the person, it may have went a different way.
Right.
A better way.
All right. Are there any sisters in service that inspire you? Either past, present, any branch, living, dead, doesn't matter.
What? Let me think.
So you made friends that you are not inspired by?
No, I'm inspired. I'm gonna say, well, I thought you meant like
that was high, black lady friends
that were higher ranking than me. Like I thought you were talking about like leaders.
Inspired. You can,
just period. Oh,
you can get inspiration from anyone.
Well, I was gonna say, excuse me, a lot of the people that were my peers and that were still friends, they definitely is hard workers. They doing the damn thing. Like good jobs, businesses, taking care of their family. Like I have a couple of them that I'm just like inspired, and then I even still we call each other and bounce ideas off of each other. What do you think about this, or confide in each other, whatever. Because a lot of them, especially in this area, once you do leave the military, a lot of them still kind of affiliated with the government in the military, either it's contract, civil service, or something. Yeah. So you face similar issues, but not as bad because you're not active duty,
right?
But you may still, especially a African American woman, you still experience some similar things as far as racism and sexism go. Mm-hmm. It's just a little different when it's different avenues to handle it when you're a civilian,
right? Versus
when you're active duty,
right?
But I have plenty now. I'm so proud. Like I said, just to see that group that we were to where we were, and then where we're not, and now everybody's doing good. Everybody's flourishing, doing good, happy. 20 years later,
I love it. It sounds like the ending of a really good black movie. Mm-hmm. Let's say you were just starting your life out on your own, and you were presented with the chance to join the service for the first time. Knowing what you know now, would you join?
Like I said,
and you don't even have to join the Navy this time.
Well, I'm saying anybody. Like I said, there were benefits to it.
Yes.
Like I said, being able to get school paid for.
Absolutely.
And some of the experiences that I experienced that I probably wouldn't experience if I hadn't went into some of the places. I'll say. I say yes, but I wouldn't if it was my kids. I don't want my kids to go into the military. If they do, they do. But I don't want my kids to go into the military. It's not anything that I advocate for, because it's people think it's military. No, it's not easy. It's hard. The military is hard because you think on the outside you're 9 to 5. In the military, you're 24/7. Yeah, you may have work 8 hours or whatever, but they can call you back at any moment. It's times you have to stand duty overnight. Like it's a 24/7 job. You belong to the government.
It's a life.
And it just the same, like people will come in and they have kids, single parents, or even they're married. Like you have to sign paperwork saying that if something, if we do call your child going somewhere, or sometimes you see like dual military marriages, and one spouse is on the East Coast, one on the West. They try to co-locate you, but I've seen, matter of fact, I know for a fact, I've seen for, I think it was a senior chief of Master Chief, but his wife was like an officer, and they had been trying to get in the same area for several years, and she's still because of the jobs that they did.
Yeah,
kept her on the West Coast, kept him on the East Coast.
How did they even meet if that's the case? They must have been very low ranking at the time.
maybe, but they rose in rank. But because of their occupation, what they did, it kept them separate for many years. So I tell people, and then even like just getting deployed, not even just on a ship, but even Air Force, you get deployed for 6-7 months at a time. That can do something to you. People, I was like, the military is not an easy job.
Right.
Now it has its moments, because I see there were times where, you'd be on a ship and we would be in port, and they did try to give us more liberty, more than not, because when you do go out to sea, that is all day, every day, 24 months at a time. Then when you get in to sea, we still have jobs to do, but they try to give you a little more liberty, just see your family and go home and rest or whatever. But the military is not an easy job.
Agreed. You absolutely just answered this next question, but I'm gonna go ahead and if you had a daughter or any young impressionable black girl in your life that you cared about, she's already saying no.
I don't.
And she was considering a life in the military.
Not even as an officer, enlisted officer. I don't.
Would you try to talk her out of joining?
I don't know. So I don't know if I would necessarily try to talk her out of it, but I would give her all the probably more cons than because I'm like, for me, and I had a child really young, and trying to finish out. I said, if you do what you're supposed to do, and not saying college for but even to get a trade, you do not have to go in the military to do that. Right. So, and I said, once you do, you can trap like the positives that I found in the military. If you kind of go a certain path, you can do that without the military. Right. So. Right. I don't know. I don't want any of my kids, male or females, to go into the military. Right on. If I can help it.
Now, you did mention that you had a child. Did you have help with your child while you were in the military?
My first child, yes, a lot of help from my family. If it wasn't for my family, like I said, I was on 2 ships. So if it wasn't for my family, I would have been.
Did the military accommodate you at all?
No, okay. I told you that my first command, they told me, because the person or the persons that had my son initially couldn't take care of him anymore. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm in a whole nother state trying to coordinate and figure out and he was a toddler at the time. And they told me that, my child didn't come in my sea bag. And not trying to help me. I say, hey, these are some options. Maybe go talk to this person. It's like, I remember they pulled me on the side of the street. Like, let me just explain something to you. Your child did not come in this bag. So basically, we don't care what you do. Wow. But you need to figure out what you're going to do. You signed this dependency care plan. Wow. And because we about to go out to sea. So figure it out. So, and like I said, maybe because I don't know how it is now. Maybe that because it was like the late 90s, early 2000s.
No, they still heartless.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Look, trash is trash. We don't ever take it out.
Well, you would think and hope and pray that evolution occurs for the better over time. When you know better, you do better. Hopefully.
Do you think we're learning? You said when you know better, you do better. You think we know better now?
I guess it just depends on the day. Because I've seen some things with the military. I'm like, are you serious? Like, that's gotten worse. And then I've seen some things like, okay, they're trying. Trying.
Air quotes, trying.
Well, sometimes it's all you can ask for. At least you're trying to do better.
Right on. Thank you for that positive spin. That kind of leads into and answers the next question. You are really good at this. Look, I gave her the questions ahead of time. I gave Terry the questions ahead of time, y'all, and she looked over them because she's answering the shit out of them.
Military taught me how to be prepared.
And I
thank the military for that.
And you are. Recruitment and retention is down across all the branches and with all the demographics. Black women are not excluded from that. This was true even before the pandemic. Why do you think black women are so disinterested in joining the military?
Because they're not intrigued. Like when you see your Caucasian female counterparts, sometimes it's the microaggression, but sometimes you can see the blatant.
Right.
Like you get passed over for certain things, no matter how hard you work, no matter how long you work. I mean, just the disparities in how we're treated sometimes in the military with our Caucasian female and male counterparts.
Right.
It's very disheartening. It's like, why even try? Like, why stay here?
It's discouraging.
It's very discouraging. And then sometimes even when I've seen certain black females try to make certain changes or whatever, and they have a hard way to go, and then they get labeled. Like, even if it's a change for a better or positive, like, you still have to fight against the grain to even make things that will probably benefit the military better. Right. If you let it happen.
Right.
But they fight against it so hard because, like I said, I don't care if everybody says, it's still the good old boy network going on in the military. So they want to keep everything the same way, status quo, what's good for them. I truly feel if they really did try to work with and cultivate a lot of the minorities and stuff, I think we would have like an even more greater military force.
People would want to join.
People would want to join, and they would want to stay and make it a career.
Right.
They maybe encourage their children to join instead of discouraging them not to join.
Instead of having all these, trauma stories
Yeah.
to pass on and warn other people about.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Right.
It's like going to jail.
In many cases.
Yeah.
It feels that way a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
You get talked to any kind of way, sometimes treated any kind of way. So, yeah.
And it feels like there's no getting out. There's no escape, just like jail.
But, I realized, too, like, lately you see we got a higher suicide rate. And I was like, why is that? Because when I was in, people did, but it's terrible now.
Right. Look, we're taking classes left and right. Like, when I left, classes were being offered all the time for suicide awareness and how to talk people out of and prevention, how to talk people out of it. I know that wasn't happening in the 90s.
It was, but not at this. I mean, people, of course, but not at this. I've never seen it at this rate before. It's like, especially in this area, and it's not even just active duty, but like because I still affiliated with the military, it's been civilians, it be guns, it be active duty. I'm like, what is going on in the military that everybody want to take their own life? Like they feel like that's the only way out.
Right.
So, and I have heard that they claim, they looking into it, and it's like you see little emails and stuff coming out about trying to, help try to somehow curb from people from doing it. But I've never seen it at this rate before. Like I said, it was late 90s, early 2000s.
And that's a hard number. Like that's a hard thing to
terrible.
curb anyways. Like,
it is, but why is it getting worse though? Like you would think that, like you said, over the last 20 years that the military would have gotten better or figure out better ways to with their people to help manage their people and take care of their people, but everybody killing themselves. Like, it's crazy.
Right.
What was it? Was it the Coast Guard? No, it wasn't the Coast Guard. It was the Army or Air Force, where one of the branches I saw recently where it was like a bunch of sexual assault coming out that happened over the last 10 years, but it's just not coming out now.
This may be the Coast Guard. I think it
was the Coast Guard.
I think we saw the same article. I want to say that the Coast Guard, and I'm probably going to fuck this all the way up. The Coast Guard is now apologizing for all.
Yes, it was the Coast Guard. Because I'm like, well, what happened to the red light, green light, and all the training we got back in the 90s and 2000s? I said, so they're now
apologizing for
stuff
for oversight and for things that were happening.
Not truly investigating, like you said, blaming the victim.
Right. Doing everything you can to shut the victim up except stopping the predator.
Right. And those are the ones that make rain.
Yeah. 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 Oh, they're making rain because their friends are also predators.
That's what they go. Yeah, so all the predators get to make all the decisions and run all over people. The ones that are the worker bees, we just get more trauma.
Right. Right. Okay, Terry, if you were conducting this interview from where I'm sitting, what would you have asked you that I did not ask you?
I don't know. I guess one of the things that I'm curious to talk to any veteran or retiree is and I think the militia is, what are some of the things, since we've been in there, we've been in the trenches, what are some of the things that, looking back, you think we can, tell the military, hey, if you did this, it might make this better. You know what I'm saying? What are some of the things that we could say now, since we've been in it, that we saw that we could do differently or do better to make the military better for everybody, but especially Black women and minorities?
Okay. Wait, are you asking me or telling
I
me
am curious
or telling me to ask you?
Both. So you were in the military. What is like
That's
one or two things that you would have, like if you look
Terry
back,
is
like,
interviewing me.
No, I'm just kidding.
The tables have turned,
No,
y'all.
I'm just curious, like, because you're quite a bit younger than me, so I'm just curious because, like I said, I was
because you look really young.
You're quite a bit younger than me, but
Terry, black don't crack, like for real.
But just what is like one thing, like if Congress said, hey, to make the Coast Guard better, what are one or two things you would implement or policy you would change to make it better for black women? I ain't even want to say women. I'm just going to say for black women because you were a black woman.
Okay, well, this would make it better for black women, but inevitably it would make it better for fucking everybody.
Right.
Because when you take care of the lowest, you take care of everybody.
Absolutely.
I would say punish predators. Punish people that actually do wrong things.
Punish them how though?
Punish people.
They can get a good stern talking to you.
You stop it right now, Terry. That's not a punishment. You know it. That's the good old boy.
That's
the good old boy system.
We talked to him. He's not going to do it again.
Stop it, Terry.
This year.
We are not putting people in timeout. No, I mean actual.
But harsh punishment.
Punish people in accordance to what they have done. Like, I'll say, punish your white officers the same way you would punish your black enlisted people, because you punish your black enlisted people with no problem. So if they do the same thing, if they did the same crime, they should serve the same punishment. If this person is getting out, if they were guilty of cocaine usage and you kick them out immediately, you did the right thing. If it's an officer that's guilty of cocaine usage, you should also kick them out. You should not be protecting their career. Same crime, same punishment.
But so I'm going to say this. That's not military specific. That's just our culture. Because this is
Terry,
on the outside.
I'm answering the question the best way I can.
I know what I'm saying.
I wasn't ready to be interviewed now.
That's why I say I think it's just systematic. The same people that are in the military are civilians too at one point in time.
Right.
So, and I think a lot of the policies and certain things it transcends into the military. So on the outside of civilian, as you know, it could be a Caucasian person and a black person. They can do the exact same thing, but the black person, they don't even have to do, the black person can do less.
Right.
And they're still going to get a harsher punishment.
Correct.
Than the Caucasian. And it's the same way in the military.
You're right.
The same exact way in the military.
I feel like you can do more for the military. Like, you can actually implement that stuff in the military
Absolutely.
more easily.
Of course.
Because we're a smaller crowd. It's more condensed. So you put that in and it will be
But it starts at the top though. It starts with Congress all the way down. Like if they would, like you said, implement policies, like
it can't
we don't see a color. We don't see a color. You molested this little girl, you black, you molest this little girl, you white, y'all gonna get the same punishment. I got one for you.
Come on.
So black male officer, junior, and a Caucasian male officer, a little more senior, both fraternization, cheated, whatever, both got found out. Mm-hmm. The junior officer got kicked out and embarrassed. We all know about it. And then the Caucasian officer was allowed to finish his last few years and retire.
Wow.
Did the same thing.
Wait, he was low ranking and he retired?
No,
you said he was junior. You said he was.
Well, the black guy was a little more junior. They were like one or two ranks apart. So the junior guy, they kicked out.
Right.
The guy that was like maybe a rank or two higher, they let him stay in a few more years so he can get his retirement.
I hate it. He didn't deserve it.
Did the exact same.
Right.
Well, of course not. They did the exact same thing.
Right. One got punished accordingly, and one got a stern talking to.
Yeah, they got a little smack on the hand.
Got pulled to the side and said, and you better not do it again, buddy.
4 years, you better mind your P's and Q's.
You better not do it again, buddy.
Or at least let us find out about it. So
look, and if it happens again, we're going to write you up.
Right. We're going to get you to your retirement, though. So absolutely, I totally agree with you. I think that the punishment should fit the crime no matter what color, race, whatever, gender. I don't even care the gender. If a woman does it and the man does it, everybody get the same punishment. Right. Don't care.
That would make the world a better place, make the military a better. That's for
I think
everybody.
It would be a deterrent though. Like,
it would just make everything
equal across the board.
Across the board.
But I think that's just.
But if we punish people according to their crimes, white men would start getting punished, and they don't want that. So
we see that every day in the real civilian sector. You know, look at who our former president was. He doing what the heck he wanted to do, and he was over the military, and he was doing crazy stuff. So
Impeached twice.
but let our black president had did anything remotely close to what he did, they would have got his time passed out of them.
Look, and we would have never stopped hearing about it either.
Never.
We as a people would have never stopped hearing about it.
Never. The other president that I was talking about, when he was in, and I would listen, that was hard to listen to people talk about politics, and especially when that particular president was in. But I'm like, you would hear things going on inside the military doing certain things. I'm like, but you got the person that's over the darn military, lying, cheating, adultery, like everything you can think of.
Yes.
And he's allowed to do that.
He had a bucket list.
Whatever you want to do.
He had a bucket list of bad shit to do.
But he was over the military.
Did all of it.
But he was over the military, though.
Yes. Yes. Terry, if you're done interviewing me.
I'm sorry. I like picking other people's brain.
I'm here for it. Like, thank you. That was dope. I wasn't expecting it. Terry, is there anything you would like to leave our audience with?
I truly believe no matter what path you take, going in the military or not going in the military, you can learn something good or bad. Like you said, from leaders, from people, from experiences, there is something that you can learn that can help you. So, I had some not so good experiences in the military, and I've had some okay experience in the military, and I was able to learn from both and make it work for me and still be what I consider successful.
You are fucking goddamn right you are.
So, learn from the good and the bad, take the good with the bad, and keep on moving.
Amen. I'm with it. I probably shouldn't say amen right after saying you fucking right.
Well, the Lord knows your heart. That's one of the other things that really irks me about certain people in the military. If like you said, injustice for one is injustice for all. So if something is happening to you and it's truly not right, you should try to speak up and stand up, because you want to try to prevent that from happening to other people coming behind. Like, that's the big thing. I'm a big proponent of that too. Like, and I always use the analogy to the extreme. Like, if I was raped, he raped me, but I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna go on my life. I'm gonna get therapy. I'm gonna get married, have kids, but I never say anything. This person never hold accountable. So how many more people he's gonna rape behind me? Right. Versus if I would have made noise or said something, I could have prevented some other women going through the same trauma and tragedy that I went through.
Right.
So,
right.
You want to try to take care of your fellow man or woman.
Right. Look, and in situations like that, he may or may not get punished, but at least if you make a noise, you're warning other women.
That's right. At least I'm firing that warning shot for everybody else to see.
I'm with it.
Even if it's just rumors going like, you know what? I heard he did. It'll make everybody else at least side eye a little more cautious when they're around. So.
Right. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Damn, this was nice.
Do I get like a prize at the end or something?
No. You get a hearty thank you. And a unstern talking to.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you for yours, Terry.
Thank you.
And thank you for inviting me in your lovely home. Thank you for taking the time. I know you had to go to work today.
No worries.
And look, I'm here for it. I appreciate everything.
Look, we stick together, active duty and veterans.
That's what's up. I'm with it.
I want you to be successful in your podcast.
Thank you, Terry. And I want you to be successful in life.
Thank you.
Bam. Look, hey, y'all, I'm throwing up the heart signal with like both hands or whatever.
Me too.
I'm trying to be cute.
Me too.
All right, it looks like gang signs when she does it, though.
No affiliation to any gang, though.
Terry is not gang affiliated.
Still affiliated with the government, though, if you want to call it a gang.
That's the mob, honey. Thank you for this interview, audience. Thank you for tuning in. And we're done. Bye. And that concludes this episode of the Seasoned Vet Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. And a special thank you to Terry for sharing her story and taking the time to make this interview possible. During this interview, Terry and I discussed the growing number of service members that are tragically taking their own lives. That's not a subject or number to be taken lightly. If you or someone you know is having a tough time and needs someone to talk to, please always be at liberty to contact the National Suicide Hotline by dialing 988 or texting HOME, HOME, to 741-741 to reach a trained crisis counselor. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the cost is free. Now, if you are or know a Black lady veteran who would like to sit down with me and be a part of the show, please email me at seasonedvetpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can call or text message me at 713-254-0970. You can also find, follow, and inbox me, The Seasoned Vet, across all platforms of social media. at Real Seasoned Vet on Twitter, at Seasoned Vet Podcast on Instagram, at Seasoned Vet Podcast on TikTok, at Seasoned Vet on YouTube, Seasoned Vet on Facebook. Y'all, I'm so out there, I'm even on Spoutable. That's at the Seasoned Vet on Spoutable. Now, if you like what you heard, please like it, share it, rate it, and leave a good review on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And if you're hearing this episode on the day that it drops, then you're listening to it on the 56th anniversary of the Cambridge Riot of 1967. This riot was one of 159 race riots sweeping the nation during the quote-unquote long hot summer of 1967. On July 24th, 1967, the black residents of Cambridge, Maryland began to confront the police while trying to have a protest march that started off peaceful until the police began to get violent. Shortly after the unrest began, a black elementary school was set on fire by the town's white residents. Since the fire department did not respond for 2 hours, the fire spread to burn down 17 other buildings in the black community. The governor of Maryland, Spiro Agnew, was noted to be outraged by the riots. So outraged that the only people he sought out and punished were black people. If the name Spiro Agnew sounds familiar, it's because that raggedy piece of shit went on to become the vice president under Richard Nixon. Anyways, he died in 1996, and the world's a better place because of it. Today is also legendary operatic singer Adele Addison's 98th birthday, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because she sang the soundtrack to 1959's Porgy and Bess. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, fall out.